Wide shot of 1880s Cap Haitian, Haiti, vibrant Caribbean colors, colonial architecture, palm trees. In the late 19th century, Cap Haitian was a jewel of the Caribbean, a place of revolution, pride, and a young boy named Joseph. A young Joseph Laroche studying by candlelight, surrounded by complex mathematical sketches. Born in 1886, Joseph was a brilliant mind in a world that often sought to limit his horizons. But his ambition knew no borders. At 15, he left the shores of Haiti for France, carrying the hopes of his family and a passion for the burgeoning age of machines. In the classrooms of Beauvais, he mastered the language of steel and steam, becoming a qualified engineer in a land far from home. He helped build the pulse of Paris, working on the city's legendary metro, proving his skill in the face of a skeptical society. It was here he met Juliette. In a time of rigid social barriers, their love was a quiet, defiant masterpiece of its own. They married in 1908, but despite his genius, the sting of prejudice in the French job market began to close doors on his career. With 2 daughters and a 3rd child on the way, Joseph looked back toward his homeland. Haiti offered the promise of a fresh start. Their original plan was simple: return to Haiti on the ship France, but the ship's discriminatory policies regarding children changed everything. He traded their passage for a different vessel, a ship they said was unsinkable, a ship called the Titanic. April 10, 1912, the Laroche family boarded as second-class passengers at Cherbourg, stepping into the belly of the world's greatest marvel. The family entering their cabin, plush upholstery, mahogany wood, and warm electric lamps. For a few days, the Titanic was a floating palace. Joseph, Juliette, and the girls found a rare, quiet luxury in the middle of the ocean. As the only man of African descent on board, Joseph moved through the ship with a quiet dignity, a silent witness to the peak of the Edwardian era. They shared meals with teachers and clergy. In the second-class dining room, the world felt unified by the rhythm of the sea. But the North Atlantic is a cold, unforgiving host. On the night of April 14th, the air turned sharp enough to cut. At 11:40 p.m., a vibration shivered through the hull. Not a crash, just a graze, but for an engineer, it was a sound of disaster. Joseph didn't panic. He understood the mechanics of the ship. He knew they had to move, and they had to move now. He led his pregnant wife and 2 small daughters through the maze of the ship toward the boat deck as the floor began to tilt. Above, the night was filled with the scream of steam and the blinding light of distress rockets. The unsinkable was dying. Under the rule of women and children first, Joseph lowered his daughters into lifeboat 8. He knew the math. He knew the odds. He handed Juliette his coat and his money, whispering his final promise: "I will see you in New York. We will go home." Slow motion, the lifeboat being lowered into the dark void. Joseph's face fades into the shadows above. It was the last time she would ever see him. A silhouette against the glowing lights of a sinking giant. At 2:20 a.m., the Atlantic claimed the great ship. Joseph Laroche, the engineer who built bridges in Paris, was lost to the deep. The lifeboat drifting in a field of ice. Juliette holding her children, looking back at the empty horizon. Juliette and the girls were rescued by the Carpathia. They arrived in New York with nothing but the clothes on their backs. The dream of Haiti died with Joseph. Overwhelmed by grief and alone in a foreign land, Juliette returned to France. Months later, she gave birth to a son. She named him Joseph, in honor of the father he would never know. His daughters grew up in the shadow of his legend, keepers of a story that the world would eventually forget for decades. For years, his name was a footnote, or omitted entirely, but history has a way of surfacing the truth. Today, Joseph Laroche is recognized not just as a passenger, but as a pioneer, a man of science, and a hero of the heart.